Salute to Knicks Nation on this Wednesday morning, or Wednesday afternoon. Another edition of KFTV, a special edition of KnicksFanTV. Joining us today is a special guest. He is currently the head basketball coach of the Indiana Hoosiers basketball team, but we all know him here in New York as Coach Woodson, the former coach, former player of the New York Knicks. Coach, welcome to KnicksFanTV. Thanks again for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's an honor to have you on. And currently speaking on these Knicks, they are making a ton of moves. Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, they are making their push to be a true contender in the NBA. And they've landed a blockbuster trade in Karl Anthony Towns. What was your reaction when you heard about the trade?
It's a big move. I think it's a guy that they've kept their eyes on over the years. And Leon has had a nice relationship with the big fella. And, I think it's a great move. You hate to see Julius go. I got nothing but love and respect for Julius because I had an opportunity to coach him. And he works at his craft. And that's why you see the body of work that he's put in displayed on the basketball floor. But, as you know, in this business, trades are made all the time, and you just got to hope that you make the right move for your ball club. And I think Townsend is a great talent, and I think he'll fit right in. When you're running alongside Brunson, and Brunson is running the show, Brunson has figured it out. I mean, he's a hell of a player, man, and he's figured out how to get players around him to play at a high level, and he's playing beautiful basketball, I think, in terms of what he's done for the Knicks since he's been there. And I think it's a good move for him, though. I do.
When they met at Media Day just a couple of days ago, the key theme that keeps being brought up is spacing with this Towns acquisition. And specifically, I'm looking to see a more fruitful duo between Brunson and Towns. From a spacing standpoint, how do you see those two guys operating and being effective?
Well, he's shown he can make the long ball. And that seems like that league, everybody's putting up threes all over the place. But it's still going to be the supporting cast that he has around him that makes it all work. And Brunson is kind of the guy who triggers everything for the Knicks. And I just like, how he competes on a night in and night out basis. But Townsend will space. I'm sure they'll post him a little bit, but they brought him there specifically to space the floor and make threes, and that's what he's pretty damn good at.
And with the acquisition of Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby has just re-signed. Tom likes the wing versatility. You add Josh Hart to that mix. What do you make of the Knicks' wing depth now and how they can compete in the East and beyond?
Well, Bridges getting him, I thought was a big pickup. OG's, he's played well since he's been there. He had the injury, but he's back healthy, I hear. And I just think it's going to take the supporting cast, just like they played last season, to play at a high level night in and night out, to make it happen. But I think they got nice pieces in play. I don't know where Mitchell is right now in terms of his injuries, but they're going to need him as they continue the journey as well, because he's a defensive force inside that can do a lot of things for your ball club.
No question about it. When you returned as an assistant coach in the 2020 season, what was the thought process? What was that call like from either Tom or Leon to bring you back into the fold?
Well, again, they gave me an opportunity, after I got let go in L.A. with the Clippers. They gave me an opportunity to come back to New York and work. And, that's all you can ask for. And so, I tip my hat to Tibbs and Leon and Jim Dolan and Wes for giving me the opportunity to come back and continue to work and work at a spot where I'm very familiar with. And I didn't know Tibbs very well at that time. I competed against him from a coaching standpoint all these years, and it was really a treat to work with Tibbs because he is a basketball junkie.
You want to play, Rasheed? You want to play some? go.
You know, one of the clips that we play on our social media channels is a clip from the 2012-13 season, opening night, Knicks against the big three of the Heat. Rasheed Wallace getting his Garden debut, and it's a clip of you going to Rasheed and asking him if he wants to play, and the crowd goes crazy. That is one of the most viral videos that we put out there. Do you remember anything from that moment and that Garden reaction?
You know, I have nothing but respect for Rasheed. You know, I rode that roller coaster with him in Detroit, man, and damn, he was along with Ben Wallace and the supporting cast, Chauncey and Rip and Tayshaun. Boy, it was Corliss. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing to be a part of, and to get the opportunity to bring him back with me to the Garden. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. He didn't, you know, he could have said, "Hell, I'm good, coach," but he got up off the bench, man, and the fans. I mean, it was just a beautiful scene to have him going, even when we knew the game was already out of reach. He still stepped on professionally and helped his ball club continue to play and finish the ball game. But the fans they were phenomenal. I mean, unbelievable. They've always been that way.
Yeah. No question about it. And, you know, you coach this team for 2.5 years as the head coach. Player after player who I've spoken to, from Rasheed to Kenyon Martin, Mike Bibby, Raymond Felton, you know, I ask all these guys about you, and unanimously, you know, it's nothing but high praise. What does that mean to you to have that love from all these players? And what does that say about you as, you know, being like a player's coach?
Well, it means a lot, man. I think, you know, when I first started out in coaching, you know, you kind of have to make your way. And when I got the head coaching job in Atlanta and was able to build that team over the 6 years that ownership gave me the opportunity to build, um, it's a respect factor. You know, I played in this league, you know, in that league 11 years, man, um, and I played against some of the greatest players that ever walked that floor. And uh, all you ask players when you coach them is to respect what you do, and because I respect them, because it's a beautiful profession if you treat it the right way. And um, you know, I have nothing but praises for the NBA because I've spent 34 years of my life. Hell, I'm 67 years old, man, and I've spent over half of my life in that league as a player and coach. So, I mean, to be able to coach NBA players and share some knowledge, you know, and you're not always right, you know, you're not always wrong, but if you can get your players to buy in and believe in what you're doing on and off the court, because I'm a big stickler when it comes to that, because I think it all goes hand in hand, um, then you have a chance to win. And I thought when Mike stepped down and Jim gave me the opportunity to take the team over, I made it very clear that, you know, I was a no nonsense coach. And, you know, you've heard grumblings probably uh, that, hey, Woody was, you know, somewhat light on certain guys. That wasn't true. You know, Melo was coached hard. Um, you know, I didn't believe in showing favoritism because no one ever showed me favoritism. And a lot of the teams that I played for, I was one of the best players on the team. So you expect to be coached. So that's how I was brought up, and that's how I still coach today. I mean, I coach to win, and I coach to push guys in the right direction and get them better, and in return, hopefully we win a lot of games because that's what it's all about.
When you took over for Mike D'Antoni in that 2011 season, what was that adjustment like going in as an interim coach? Because that was the first time you had done that. You had been a head coach your most of your career, but to step in an interim role, different styles with the players, like what was that adjustment like?
I didn't look at it in that light. You know, the fact, you know, my bones were made in Atlanta. You know, when I came in and they gave me the job to build that team. So I felt good about my role when Jim asked me, did I want to take the job? And then the fact that, I had played there. I was drafted by the Knicks in 80. And, we won 50 games, and that just wasn't good enough, man, under Red Holzman that year. And so I knew the dynamics of the fan base, the media. That wasn't new to me. It was just me walking in a situation halfway through where we had to make a move to get the team even thinking about the playoffs, and they jumped on board and bought into what we were doing, and we were able to salvage that season and make the playoffs.
And then in the following season, you have the 54 wins. Carmelo third in the MVP voting. You move him to the 4. You bring in significant veterans and Kidd and Rasheed Wallace, Marcus Camby coming back. But they fell short against that Pacer team in the second round. Where do you think things went wrong with that series?
Well, I got to take, full, blame for that. I've never shied away from that. You know, we rolled the dice in bringing an older veteran team in there in the beginning, which I thought was the right thing to do, along with Glenn Grunwald, and Jim gave us, his blessings on it. And I just thought Melo needed some veteranship around him. Um, the supporting cast was there with him and Amari and Tyson, but we needed, better guard play, and that's why I went with Kidd and Raymond and we
Pablo.
and bought Pablo Prigioni in, and it was a good mixture. It's just that when we came down the stretch run, one of our key bigs, which was Tyson, you know, he he got sick, and that wasn't a good look going into that series. And you got to tip your hat to the Pacers, man, because we had played them great throughout the regular season, but as you know, playoffs is a whole different atmosphere. And we up 16 in the first game early, and came out with great intentions, and we let it get away, and came back to the second game and played great. I mean, it was kind of a blowout, and I thought we could really go in and steal one back, and but the Pacers were nasty and stingy, man. They
Tough
just
team.
weren't going to let it happen.
And a barrage of threes by the Knicks.
Now Shumpert gone back to the bench. I wonder if he was coming in for JR.
Anthony attacks. Hibbert denies him at the rim. Block number 5 for the Pacers center.
Wow, what a play. Oh, man, what action. Some kind of block. Great back cut there. J.R. Smith caught watching the basketball, and Stevenson again making his presence felt.
I recall in game 6 where, Melo had the layup and Hilbert came from nowhere and made a great play on the ball. And, we scored there. It's probably a different series. We come home and possibly wrap it up, but that's how playoff basketball is. But I take blame for that, man. Because I truly believe that was the team to really make some noise and get to the finals, and I just couldn't get them over the hump.
Yeah, tough one indeed. When you think about your coaching history, you played under Red Holzman, you worked with Larry Brown, some legendary names. How did their coaching style shape your philosophy over the years?
Well, it started back, really my young tutelage under my high school coach Bill Smith and Bob Knight kind of set the tone in terms in shaping my whole career as a basketball player. And when I got into coaching and I started working for various coaches like Chris Ford and George Karl and Randy Whitman, um, when I got to Larry Brown, he taught me the right way, man. He just is, and that's no knock against the other coaches. He just taught me how to prepare and and take it more serious in terms of my approach to players on and off the court. You know, in my early days in coaching, I was still in that players mentality. And if you're going to coach this game, you got to coach and go all the way with it. And I thought Larry set the table when I worked for him in Philly. And I just kind of spun a lot of things that I had learned from Larry from that point on. And when I left Philly and joined him in Detroit, it was a beautiful run, man. And so from that point on, I felt, you know, pretty good about, you know, my everyday approach to coaching and trying to get players to do the right things on and off the court. So when I got to Atlanta, it was a learning curve because we had such a young team, but ownership gave me an opportunity to build it. And we went from 13 wins to 53 wins and with that young team. And they were an exciting team to watch. And then I was able to come back home to New York.
Yeah, there you go. And as we segue to IU now, was there a big adjustment for you in your first year from coaching pros to coaching student athletes?
Yeah, it's always an adjustment when you start something new that you've never done. You know, I think coaching is coaching, but you know, college is a little different. You know, I tell this story all the time. After I did my press conference, you know, I gave this all-star speech, you know, to the players that were still here in uniform. And I asked everybody who wanted to stay on board to raise their hand. And all the walk-ons raised their hand. They're the only ones. So I'm like, oh, shit, this is devastating, man. I mean, you know, we had a bunch of disgruntled players starting at the top with Trace Jackson Davis. And I'm sitting here begging guys, you know, I'm new. You got to give me an opportunity. You know, I mean, I'm not, you know, what's happened in the past is behind us and, you know, we have to move forward. So I started at the top. I sat down with Trace and his family and got him to commit and come back and be on board with me. And then everybody else seemed to fall in place. And then we were able to, you know, take that team and take them to the tournament, which they hadn't, you know, gone in some years. And so it's been a good run. You know, last year was kind of a down year. And, you know, as a coach, you know, it falls, you know, strictly on my shoulders. And I didn't get it done in terms of getting this team, you know, to the tournament. But we've made a lot of changes this summer in terms of our ball club based on the dynamics of what college basketball presents these days. And I think we put a pretty good team together. I just got to put it all together and see where it leads us.
Yeah, that's certainly interesting because you're going from the NBA where your reputation is established and it's clean with the players are repping you, and then you go to the college and it's almost falling on deaf ears. So that I could imagine that was certainly a challenge. And as you mentioned, you lose a number of players last offseason. Khalil Ware, I got a chance to see him in summer league. Looks pretty good for the Miami Heat. What is that challenge with integrating? You got 6 transfers here of a freshman. What's that challenge of integrating these players into your current roster?
Well, it was that way day one coming in. I mean, we brought in, I think, the first year 4 players to our roster, new players. And though that was through the portal. And in the second year, we brought in 5 players. And then after this season, I had 3 players to leave me to go to the portal. And I graduated 2 seniors. And then Ware got drafted to the Miami Heat. So I had 7 scholarships, you know, in my hand that I had to go out and start fresh and basically go through the portal, in which we did. And my staff did a beautiful job in helping me, go land like Big Ballo from Arizona, the big center, which we needed a center, you know, after Ware had left. And we needed guard play, perimeter play, and we were able to go get Miles Rice from Washington State, and we got Kanan Carlisle from Stanford. I mean, I was going all over the place. We got Luke Goody from Illinois, and thinking Hatton from a little small school up here in Louisville. Uh, I mean, we was just reaching, man. And then the kid Bryson Tucker the freshman kind of fell in our laps, you know.
Mm.
Dad and I had a talk. I flew into Baltimore to meet with his dad in the DC area, and one thing led to another, and we were able to get a 5-star player in Bryson Tucker, the only freshman that we have. Uh, so I mean, we got a big 7-footer, Dallas James from Florida, you know, who's kind of a kid that that's got some skill set, but he needs a lot of work. And you know, I'm hoping, you know, once he get about a good month under him, that he's able to contribute behind Barlow a little bit. But um, we got a nice mixture of players for our ball club, and I just got to put it all together. They've been working their butts off since we started official practice on the 25th. So I'm pleased where we are, but we still got a long way to go.
There you go. With Ware, was he ever someone that the Knicks inquired about? I know they were looking at centers in the draft. Was Ware one of those on their radar?
Yeah, he was on the radar, but again, nobody really knew. I know we surely didn't know, you know, how high he would go in the draft. He was called to the green room, which is a good sign, but you never know there as well. You know, you can sit there all the picks and not be drafted. So, you know, we were happy for he and his family because, you know, it was a bad rap coming out of Oregon when we got him, and it was work in progress. You know, it took us about a month to really shape him up and get him where we thought he should be playing and playing at a high level, and it carried on through the ball season. And you know, he had a good year, man. I mean, he played extremely well for us. I'm so proud of how he performed, and it paid off for him. You know, he was able to be the 15th player picked in the draft.
Just a couple of quick ones for you here, Coach. I know you have to run the practice. You know, NILs has been a hot topic over the last few years, and there was a coaches poll that was conducted over the summer, and they rated Indiana's NIL program to be one of the best in college athletics. What do you make of, you know, the programs that you guys have implemented there, and overall how that's evolved?
Well, I won't comment a whole lot about it. I just know that we've been in a good space, you know, for NIL as well as a lot of schools. You know what I mean? That's you know, that's where we are, man. And you know, I didn't walk into college thinking, you know, that this was going to happen, but it's what it is, man. And you know, it kind of reminds me of being in the NBA a little bit. You know, you're going to have to, you know, have an NIL space until they make changes. You know, I know this rev sharing is a big topic right now as well. You know, I don't know where we are, you know, when it comes to that right now, because there's a lot of decisions that has to be made, but we have been in a good space in terms of our NIL program, and you know, I hope we're able to, you know, stay in that space.
There you go. And final one for you here. You know, the fans are highly anticipating this interview. You've been a beloved figure here for the 2.5 years that you were here. Well, plus the season under Tibbs as the assistant, as well as a player in the 1980 season. What are you most proud of during your time here in New York?
Just, you know, the fan base, and I had my ups and downs. You recall that last year it wasn't real pleasant when Phil came in there, but again, injury bugs killed that whole team. And then when we figured it out and got a lot of the guys back, we made a nice run at the end, but it just wasn't good enough. And you know, I wasn't Phil's guy at that time, and he decided to go in a different direction, which, you know, I've been around long enough to know the sport and how it works. So, but you know, the fact that the fans have always, I think, always been there for me, It says a lot. I have nothing but love for the Knicks and the fan base and Jim Dolan, who I think gets a bad rap. I love Jim Dolan and what he stands for. And, he tries to do all the right things by his ball club. And, when he's financially doing the right things, I mean, what more else can you say? So I'm I'm a big supporter of Jim Dolan's. He let me come home and fulfill a dream that maybe some owners and coaches would not have allowed, but he did that for me, and I have nothing but love for him and Leon and that organization. So I wish him nothing but the best. My eyes are always on the Knicks and their well-being, and let's go win an NBA championship, Knicks. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I definitely appreciate the time. I know this is a busy time trying to get the team together, so I appreciate you carving out some time for us. And best of luck to you guys. I know the preseason opener is coming shortly on the 18th. So best of luck to you, and hopefully we can do this again.
No problem, man. Much love for you too, my brother. You keep doing your thing.
All right. Take care, Coach.
Hey, you too, man. Take care. Nice seeing you.
Absolutely.
Keep that beard intact, man.
Yeah, as you said, keep your barber. The barber is the key, right?
It looks good, boy. Yeah, no.